He said his boy they got a truck. He said all of her I'm sure it will be, but you don't need it. We can still surviving without us, Michael? It's hard out here. Chaos. We're talking about leaving a skid steer up here. I'm not doing that. Actually, kind of enjoyed the road and bridge. I don't really like the county board meetings. I enjoyed the road and bridge. So, then the market to go overseas and put up. Where are you going? What country? Oh, yeah. Speak English? It's fine.
We'll just show up an hour early. We won't have to start 2 minutes late, Chairman. Well, that was Boston. Really? Yeah. Guaranteed it. That's apple for you.
It's not very time's it?
It is going to be. Then I'll check. Good.
We've had that.
It says you're live. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Back and forth. We shall see. The only thing that's when we start talking about that,
All right, my apologies, some technical difficulties we've got. So if anybody hears from anybody that says that our camera's not working, I'm aware. So I'll check it again here in a little bit. We'll do our part to keep it going, and Richard give it a go for me as well. So I have 7:01, and I'm going to go ahead and call to order the March 13th of 2025 Shelby County Board meeting. Could I have roll call, please?
Do you want to say the pledge?
I do want to say the pledge. So I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for this day, and thank you for the freedom that you allow this country to have, that we can manage our county and meet here and conduct this business. Thank you for the wonderful weather. We pray that the farmers are able to get in early and have a good crop this year. Help this meeting to go well, and help us get the work done we need to. In your name, amen.
Thank you for that. Okay, so now we'll go to roll call, please.
Teresa Bay. I'm here. Tim Brown.
Here.
Carol Cole. Here. Julie Edwards. Chrissy Grant. Here. Jeff Gregg.
Here.
Clay Hardy. Keith McCormick. Christine Matlock. Tad Mayhall.
Here.
Tricia Miller. There. Tim Morse.
Here.
Gene Price. Austin Pritchard.
Present.
Sonny Ross.
Here.
Larry Seifert. Don Tate. Christy Woffer. Here. Brent Wallace. Judy Wood. Here. Chad Yanis.
Here.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thank you. Move on to item 3, approval of the minutes from February 13th. Have a motion on the minutes for February 13th. Mr. Yantis in the motion. Have a second. Ms. Miller, any discussion or questions on the minutes from last month? No? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion minutes passed. Item 4, we'll move on to public body comment. Public body comment. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm Jill Miller. I was hoping I would never have to speak again, but I'm in here in support for James Mitchell, and I appreciate that nobody was scared off by his appointment. First of all, he is an amazing human being. That's not a reason necessarily to be on the board, but it does help that he has common sense. He has paid attention to everything that's been going on in this county. I know for the past 2 years because I see his involvement. He's very passionate, and I think he's a wonderful addition, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents for what it's worth. It might not be worth anything, but I do appreciate his appointment, and I think he would be a great addition to the board.
All right, public body comment. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple things, actually 3. First of all, I just want to thank the board for all of the work that you've done and working across the aisle with each other and reminding us all what it looks like to be bipartisan and to care about each other and to care about what we're truly here for is to take care of all of the people of our county. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. I also wanted to give a shout out to our county clerk, Mrs. Fox, and her team for taking on the extra work that they've taken on recently, and in doing so with professionalism and showing grace, and also to the employees in the treasurer's office who have helped them make this transition. So we thank you very much, Jessica, and your entire team. The third thing that I wanted to ask, in November of last year, I was concerned, and I voiced this concern at the county board meeting about verbal FOIAs. At that time, I asked the board, specifically the legislative committee, I'm not sure that that's who sets policies for the county, but I asked if they would review and consider the fact of making a policy regarding FOIAs and specifically verbal FOIAs. My concern is that giving the type of information that we know has been given out without a written request, that's going to put us in possibly a legal situation, a liability, where our county could be taken to court and sued for money. And it's happened in the past, not at the greatest numbers as some of the other counties and other public entities in our state have experienced, especially from these individuals, where they've been awarded thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'm concerned for our county. So I don't know if that is something that is being pursued, a policy or not, but I did want to mention it. So thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Public body comment.
I got one. Follow the law, provide the requested records, then you won't get sued. That's it.
Public body comment. Public body comment. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that I also support the appointment of James Mitchell. I've known him for about 7 years. He'll tell you what he thinks, and I just think he'll be a good addition to the board.
Thank you.
So is John Kraft giving us legal advice on what we should do? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Anything else, Jake? Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Does that actually work both ways, what you just spoke? I mean, follow the law and you won't get sued. I mean, maybe it's got to work both ways. I'm just saying.
Public body comments. Mr. Morrison?
I'd also like to voice my support for Mr. Mitchell. He's a fine man, and
He loves God and his family, and I believe he'll stand up for what's right.
Thank you. Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. Okay, thank you. On to item 5, discuss and vote to the appointment of James Mitchell to fill the vacancy in the County Board District 1.
So moved.
Mr. Ross, motion. Ms. Cole, the second. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Mr. Mitchell, if you'd like to come forward, please.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your names.
I state your name. James Mitchell,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of Shelby County Board District 1
to the office of Shelby County Board District 1
in the county of Shelby
in the county of Shelby
in the state of Illinois,
in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Shelby County Board District 1
of Shelby County Board District 1
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I just need you to sign right there for me. Congratulations, and you can take your seat.
Remember, that's Mitchell with a T, James with a T, not a P.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, you're with the rest of them.
All right.
Thank you. All right,
Be alone, so I'll come over here.
move on to item 6. Mr. Gergen is here to discuss the Shelby County Historical and Genealogical Society. And before you go, I have something that was brought to me by Mr. Mitchell for you to take back to your facility. So,
Well, I brought backup with me here, so we'll get this area if you can't hear for a second. Okay. I know a lot of you folks, some of you, we work together on committees and things, and I spent about 10 years on the county board, and it's a big job, and we need good people in it, and it's good to see new people and changes taking place. So I encourage you to serve the county, serve the people, and do the best you can. I'm Gary Gerveny. I'm a retired school teacher. I live in Windsor. And as I was getting off of the board here, I ran into some of these people that's up here with me and trying to help them with some things. And I helped them on some projects, and next thing I knew, I was a member. Yeah, I missed the meeting, now I'm president. So I don't know how that goes. But I got a chance to work with some wonderful people. I don't know how many of you know, and I'll let each one introduce themselves as they come up and they got a little bit to say, but it's an amazing job they do at the Shelby County Historical and Genealogical Society. Like so many of us, we're getting old. We've had 2 members that have had health problems this year, and one's been out for over a year, and I'm getting older too. I've had some health problems this year, so we're doing what we can do, but we're a handful of people trying to fill a need in the county. It's not just Shelbyville, it's countywide. Genealogy, just cemetery plots, and we've got a lot of information over there at the Oak County Jail. We can't be open a lot because we just don't have enough people. We've got a lot of repair work, and about the time I got started on that, I started having some trouble, so I've had to slow down on that. I've been bundling up newspapers from the old Daily Union, and I don't know how many hundreds of pounds I've bundled to try to protect them. They were just in a pile. When they closed the paper, we ended up with it. So we can use help. We can use members. If you become a member, which is an easy thing to do, we have members that give money, and then we have members that give money and want work, have trouble working, because they're digging through things and reading things, and you'll learn something, especially from the food that you work with over there. I love history. I love antiques. I know several of you have antiques and been involved in that over the years, and it makes you wonder what was going on when something was made and used. And I collect tools, a lot of heavy iron tools, and it's interesting to do. We are looking for help. We're looking for people. We're looking for money. Well, I'll be the first to admit that. We've got more repairs right now than we have money to do them. And we still have to pay the heat bills and everything. And they will mention budget here in a minute. We can take a little money, a lot of money. We're just looking for money. We have no taxation at this time. It's strictly volunteer through memberships, and we sell sandwiches a couple times a year, and we're looking for help. If you've got a neighbor, share the word with the neighbor. Whatever town you're from, we want to try to make it even more of a county thing. And we're going to get out. I'm going to get around and talk to some of the mayors. I know some of them have little museums in their communities. There's a lot of history and a lot of interest in it here. And one thing having been on the board, I know you're renting the farm and that. Here would be a good public use for that money to serve the public. Not just here, but make it available to little towns where they've got a museum or they want to start a little place to store historic things for the community, they can. So we're not asking for much. We're just asking mainly people and get people involved. That's the key. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Julie and take away.
Okay, Julie Elbert. I was at the meeting, and I'm still treasurer pro tem for over a year now. So I think I can speak to you folks maybe with some figures, and then I will not have to go on and on and on. I think I'll be speaking your language. Total expenses for our society, 2024, $8,674.80. That's bad. When you look at how much is our income, our total income was almost $5,000. So you can kind of do a quick fix here, and we're losing $3,770 every year. So we're going backwards every year that much. So we need donations. We have some very generous donations we have had. And so you can see, if most of that is donations, very little is interest or anything like that. So donations. And when you look at how much money we have totally right now in both our accounts, the building fund and the regular account, we have $18,900. So you can kind of do the math. If we just lost $3,770 every year, how many years we've got. But what we're going to do, I won't speed backwards, but you know what happened to water and sewer this month, or this year? $9 higher a month. Insurance, our insurance, if we could get insurance on a building like that, $56 a month higher. Then, of course, postage went higher for our newsletters. What's Amlin doing? Higher. I mean, everything goes up. And I know I'm thinking, I'm talking to some of these farmers, we feel that pain, don't we? Yes. Income down. Expenses up. Well, we're in kind of that same general thing. And if we look at our building before, it's much like you have a historic building here, and that's expensive to maintain. And we've got the old jail, and we encourage you to come on down sometime and take a look around. The jail, if nothing else, is exciting.
We'd lock them up.
Yes. So
We have done that.
Charge them out.
yeah.
We have had people come in and they had to catch an airplane in St. Louis in a couple of hours. And unfortunately, they got locked in the old jail because the iron bar fell down. And we had to have Tony from Tony's Welding come in and cut the bars on one of the back cells to get them out so they could catch their airplane.
We promise that won't happen again. We'll try to hold it there.
Then, of course, too, with whatever's going on, donations, some of them have gone down because it just don't have that disposable income. So we're in that kind of bind in that way. But once again, we have large collections of things that, you think you can get all the genealogy online? Ooh, no, it's not on there. We've got some of that material. We've got various items. We've got paintings, Robert Root paintings. We've got various items, and we are kind of a storage unit for those.
Don't forget, we have a 1919 fruitcake.
I try to forget that.
It was made in this county and was sent to Paris,
France.
or France, France. And the soldier came home before it got there, and it bounced around and ended up going back to a lady that baked it in Windsor.
Yes.
And
And we got half.
we got half of
And then
it.
there's another library in Bloomington, Illinois, that got the other half. We were hoping they'd want to do together. Apparently
It
not.
doesn't look like a
So,
fruitcake.
if you would like to be a member, we've had some stuff posted on different Facebooks, and I also have some more little things here, yearly membership or some life memberships. I can leave some with. Oh, okay. So if you.
And if you join, you don't have to come to our meeting. If you want to, you can.
Yeah, I'll get one. But if you don't show up, you may be president.
Well, I would share. But I guarantee you're going to work with some great people.
Along those same lines, as individuals, if you make a donation, it is tax deductible at the end of the year. Okay. Yes, we need some money. I'm Joe Woodall. I've been associated with Rose Township for many years. Been associated with the Historical Society for several years. And what we're saying is, right now, this is the bind we're in. What we're trying to do long-term, there is a special district, 70 ILCS 1105 Museum District Act, that allows the creation of a museum district in a county. Okay? We are going to try to get this set up. The act specifies exactly what you have to do in terms of getting petitions to get the county or whatever, however many areas you want in it. We want to go as an entire Shelby County district, such that we will incorporate Sturgeon where they have a museum. We will incorporate Mowequa and their museum, and any other city. Findlay keeps all their yearbooks from when the high school was there in their town hall. Lakewood keeps all the trophies and pictures of all of the graduating classes from when Lakewood had a high school. It was only a 3-year high school. They're kept in the town hall. Okay? Little towns, other towns, if this district is formed, could apply to this commission and get funds to set up their own little area, if so desired. Okay? The reason we're talking about it here is we have to have the county's help in getting this process done. There are certain steps in there. The county chairman will, if we get approval from the voters to form this commission, this district, then the county chairman will appoint a 5-member commission for it. Okay? Shelby County Historical Society, us, Mowequa, Sturgeon would stay as separate entities, but could work through this district, commission to get help when they needed it. We wouldn't be here asking you and asking the city for help every time we turn around. This makes the second time I have been here for the county. We have been to the city 3 times to get help. Okay? And but we've done it on our own so far, and like Julie says, we're losing money. Okay. Questions?
Hey, Joe, are there grants available or anybody?
We are looking at grants. We also,
Somebody
They're
that
pretty
writes
tight
the
right now
grants?
across the state, there's just not much out there.
we also do our cookout at Ladies. We sell books.
April the 19th on a cookout. Drop it in there.
Well, thank you. And again, I gave Seth something that Mr. Mitchell brought for you tonight, so, by all means, feel free to visit with him about what he handed off. And
I don't know exactly what's in that. A friend of mine, they took care of an old gentleman that lived here all his life. And they've had that for years. Now, supposedly inside that was his great-grandfather's medical diploma from Shelby County on sheepskin. It's that old, in the mid-1800s. You might open that up and it might be empty. I didn't know if I should open it. I really, really badly wanted to open it, but I didn't open it. So
Business is kind of treasure hunt at times.
right, and so I'd be very interested if one of y'all get hold of me when you get that open and see exactly what's in there, and then we can go from there because the family that donated it was the Carroll family, I think.
Empty is better than leftover fruit.
There you go.
Oh, the fruitcake made it all the way to Paris, France, and all the way back, and you made it back too.
Well, I'm sure you can
So
probably
you got a lucky
it's
fruitcake.
like any fruitcake ever.
You come down and look for it.
Huh?
You come down and take a look.
Did you say you had that with you?
I gave it to you.
Oh, you got it, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you for your help, and we appreciate any consideration, and if nothing other than talking to people, please do it. We need it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 7. Beth Marks is here to discuss CEFS transportation and discuss a vote and to approve the following items for fiscal year 26, section 5311, DOAP publication transportation ordinance, item B, which is a resolution authorizing the board chair to apply for the 5311 grant funds, which is $453,953, and the DOAP grant fund, which is $1,697,700. Item C, acceptance of intergovernmental agreement with Moultrie County, Springfield County, Clay County, Montgomery, and Fayette counties. Item D, purchase of service agreement between CEFS Economic Opportunity Corporation and Shelby County. Item E, vehicle lease agreement between CEFS and Shelby County. And finally, item F, which is acceptance of the fiscal year 26 special warranty. Can I have a motion on these items, please? I've got Mr. Morris on the motion, I've got Mr. Pritchard on the second. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. It's been a lot lately. Basically, this is just our every year grant process to apply for the grant, which is due April 1st. Nothing at all, but the dates have changed on the forms. It's just usually business as usual. If you have any questions, though, be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Last year, I think when you came up here, we incorporated, did we do part of Effingham County, or was it?
Yeah.
Is that going
Altamont,
well?
The Altamont. I left it as that. We really did not have, we tried the route. The route was from Vandalia into Effingham, 2 days a week. And we incorporated Altamont into our area so that we could pick up through Altamont when we came into Effingham. And it lasted a few months, and then ridership just dwindled, so we stopped it. I went ahead and left it in our service area, though, just in case. I mean, you never know. It just seems logical to me if we're going to run a Shelby County route from Vandalia through Brownstown, St. Elmo, into Altamont, into Effingham, that we should be able to stop there and pick people up.
And one other thing, was CIPT able to help any local folks with dialysis transport whenever, because our dialysis center closed?
We tried to work with them, but unfortunately, everything was out of county, and we just weren't able to free up a driver to run them. The problem we have with dialysis, and we face this with several, Vandalia closed, and we tried to work, that was one of the reasons the Vandalia route started into Effingham. But then the dialysis riders ended up dropping off for whatever reason, and it's just difficult because Shelby Dialysis was wonderful in working with us and the times we had available for transportation. DaVita is not. DaVita does not want to work with us. We try to coordinate so that we can provide rides during the times that we have the most availability, and we just haven't been able to get anything work out. I think the Shelbyville people went to, I know a couple were going to Effingham, I think.
They've dispersed all over
Yeah,
the
they've
place.
just dispersed, and it makes it difficult for us. Because you're tying up one driver for several hours to go to another county and sit and not be productive for our business. So it's tough. We try. We look at every
Oh,
angle.
no,
But
I mean, I know
yeah.
you guys did a lot of routes when we had the Shelbyville
Yeah.
Center.
We did. Yeah. Very disappointing that they closed.
Any other questions? We're not spending anything. Do we do roll call? Just roll call. Do it anyway? Okay. Fair enough. All right, roll call vote, please.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Chrissy Grant,
Yes.
Jeff Gray,
Yes.
Tad Mayhall,
Yes.
Tricia Miller,
Yes.
James Mitchell,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Austin Pritchard,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Christy Wofford, yes, Judy Wood,
Yes.
Chad Gaines.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McKee called me earlier. He was on a fire call, and so we will pass over 8 and 9 for now in the hopes that he can circle back to him when he makes it back in here for his 2 items. Move on to item 10, the county highway engineer, the engineer's report, and discussion and vote to approve the following items. Item A, certificate of authority to allow the county engineer, Michael Tappendorf, to be the authorized representative to purchase salt for treatment for intersections and bridges during inclement weather. Item B is a joint resolution of agreement between Effingham and Shelby counties to construct improvements to an across-highway drainage structure in Prairie Township near the southwest corner of Prairie Township along Triple Lot North. Estimated cost for improvements will be $15,000, $5,000 of which to be paid from Shelby County Bridge Fund. Item C, which is engineering agreement with Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick Incorporated for a structure 087-3041 over Richland Creek on County Highway 40. Estimated cost $68,000 to be funded from federal STR and County Bridge Fund. The agreement awarded by quality-based selection procedures. And item D, placement of stop sign at the intersection of 1350 North, 2900 East in Richland Township. I have a motion on these items, please. Ms. Bain on the motion, Mr. Yantis on the second. Anything to add, Mr. Tappendorf?
I'd be happy to entertain any questions, but I have nothing really to add.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as county roads, when we do have inclement weather, how is that treated? And I'm asking this because I teach at Eric, and we have teachers and people coming from county, and they talk about the county highway, that it's always rough driving on that road when it's snowy. So what's the policy for those roads?
Sure. Absolutely. So our policy has been, we don't have the money or the equipment to do salting of the roads.
Mm-hmm.
We do plow them all day whenever we can. So we usually start a little later because we let the sun beat down on the roads just a little bit, and then we work a little bit later into the evening. So whenever the inclement weather happened this winter, my guys were out all week long, basically just scraping the roads. And then they spread a treatment, as we call it. It's a salt sand mixture at intersections and bridges. that is how our policy has been in the past for treatment of the roads.
I know when I go down from Tower Hill down there, just in the patches where there was sand, that made a big difference on the hills at first. So, yeah, because, they're talking about how dangerous they feel like it is. I figured it was a money thing, but I just was curious what y'all did.
Correct. Yeah, the state throws hundreds of thousands of dollars. We unfortunately don't have that money to do it, so.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bain?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Mayhall?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Pritchard?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yams?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. On to item 11, discussion and vote to approve contracting with Associate Health to complete the federally mandated drug cost reporting for $1,750. Have a motion on this, please. Ms. Miller, Ms. Bam on the second. Any discussion, questions about this item? It's mandated, it's the word mandated. But this was something just the past week or so.
And we've done it before.
Yes, sir.
1750, is this a total or a per employee or?
Total.
Total.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Bain?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Mayhall?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Pritchard?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yams?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 12, discussion and vote to surplus 6 13-foot by 42-foot bifold doors. Doors removed due to new replacements at the airport. I have a motion on this item. Mr. Pritchard, a second. Ms. Cole, any discussion, questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Do they have scrap value? Is that what they've got?
So the doors that they took down, they were in bad enough shape. They initially thought maybe they'd be able to sell some of them. They're in bad enough shape, they're gonna be scrapped.
Okay.
So is what it's gonna be.
And some of the board members from the airport are willing to take them apart, like take the bolts out. They're gonna call Matt Toon and find out if they need a certain size on these doors before they cut them up. And they're just gonna pile it all up and try to sell it all as scrap. And they said they could get the most money doing that. So they're gonna spend a lot of time taking them apart.
That answered it, is we're not really gonna be putting these out for bid or anything, so.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, on to item 13, discussion and vote to approve opening the closed meeting minutes and recordings from the following closed sessions: June 27th of 2023 and July 13th of 2023. I have a motion on this, Ms. Wood, the second from Mr. Pritchard. This item was run through legislative here recently and approved through the legislative committee to open these up. So, with that, any other discussion or questions?
Was the state attorney asked about?
She was.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, motion passes. On item 14, discussion and vote to approve signage to complete the fiscal year 2022 annual financial report. I have a motion. Mr. Morris, a second. Ms. Wood. I received an email from Siggage here recently as a follow-up because they have begun the process of doing fiscal year 2023's pre-audit work for us. In their conversation with Jennifer Brown as to the status of the AFR, which still hasn't been completed, and filed with the comptroller's office. It was communicated back that they just feel it's best at this point that Sickich take the responsibility and finish the last little bit of AFR that is left on the fiscal year 2022 audit. So that's how we're right here. Yes, ma'am?
Do we have to pay Sickich more money to do this?
In my conversation with them, I mean, we certainly have them approved to do the contracted work. It will come off of our tab for sure. But when I spoke to Ms. Candace, she's like, it really won't take us very long. It won't be a significant portion. And she had communicated that to early in the process before we even retained them. In that, that was the one outstanding item that we had. And she says, if need be, we can get to it. It won't be much of an issue or expense. So.
Are we done with that then?
So
We'll do this.
So this will put the final steps of completing fiscal year 22 audit. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so Sickich is going to be completing the 2022 financial report, and then it will be turned in to the state?
Yeah, so my very, very limited layman's understanding of what this is the AFR is the annual financial report is data and numbers collated during the audit process, and it's explained to me as simple as just translating numbers into a computer, right? So it's in a portal that's then received by the
Portal's
controller's
involved
office.
in this then.
That's correct. And so it's really taking numbers and transcribing numbers from one to another is the way it's explained to me.
One more. Is there a reason why Bedford and Brown could not complete, did they give a reason why this was not completed?
I have an email to them to ask for confirmation on this. I've not heard back.
And have we paid for completion of the audit to Bedford and Brown?
I believe that the audit was paid for, yes.
And this would have been part of the audit, correct? It should have been part of it.
That's my understanding, yes.
And we paid around $70,000 for the audit? Is that
That's a number
also
that
correct?
that doesn't ring a bell, yes.
But
So
we're also
there's one that, again, I put out some, I've asked for information, in exchange, but either way, to get us, on to the other side of this, is that if Sickich can do it, if they and their team can do it, then I'd like to just close the chapter.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other liability with Sickich completing Bedford Brown's audit that we can be hung out with?
So it's not actually the audit, it's taking the numbers from the audit and putting them into the portal. So they won't be adjusting any numbers, they'll just be transcribing data that was in the audit. So, does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have two components. I think I've learned more about audits in the last 5 months than I thought that I would need to. But my understanding is, the audit's one component. The final component is the AFR, which is a result of just taking the data and putting it into the portal.
The clerk's information's been done, because wasn't there a problem with getting that done too?
I honestly, I thank you for the reminder. I do need to follow up. I know that there was some additional engagement on that.
There was 3 pieces.
Right.
Circuit clerks, this AFR,
And the audit.
and yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the circuit clerk's office, and thank you for the reminder, I do need to follow up on that. I know that there was initial engagement, but exactly where that's at, I don't know. So I do need to follow up. Thank you for the reminder. I will follow up on that. Yes, ma'am.
So Sickich will be also doing our 2023 audit then?
So Sickich was hired to do our fiscal year 23, 24, and 25 pre-audit work. So they'll just do the pre-audit, they'll pull everything together, and then Lauterbach and Heyman was hired to do the audits. And so once Sickich is able to complete this, and also they're in the process of doing fiscal year 23, they'll do all the pre-work. Once they're done with the pre-work, they'll hand it off to Lauterbach and Heyman and then they'll begin on 24's data. So, I don't know, but the intent is to smoothly get through this process through the summer and get us caught up this year, and then that way we're back on track, and then they can start fiscal year 25 as soon as we close the books at the end of November. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I know you've made this, I know you've checked on this, but Sickich is certified to file this AFR.
Yes.
They can do that work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, my understanding too, in talking with them, is there's two ways you can do it. You can manually put it in, or you actually have a system that will port that over. Sickich has the system that will actually, or a lot of Dr. Needham, once the actual audit's done, would just port that over. And so it's my understanding is a push of a button, the data's uploaded. So it's 1 day versus all this.
I understand. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Will this delay cause us any problem with grants? I mean, that was due, this is over 2 years late. Are we going to run into trouble for grants for our county because of this?
So I've spoken to the comptroller's office. We had a really good conversation, I think in January, about an hour's worth of conversation. And Sickich has also had, and a lot of Rockland have both had a conversation with the comptroller's office on our behalf. And with their standing in the state, the comptroller's office is like, you're good. So, yeah, they know it's being worked on. Anything else? No? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
We're spending our money on that.
We're not. Okay. We already allocated the money.
Fair enough. Thank you.
You're on. You ready? All right. We're going to go back up to item 8. Scott McKee, zoning administrator. Discussion and vote to approve a map amendment for Jeremy Cheney to have his property rezoned on parcel 1614-15-00-200-005 from agricultural to general business. Can I have a motion on this, Mr. Ross? I have a second. Mr. Morse? All right.
Any questions about this?
Where is it?
Printed these out. Anybody else get a map of what's in place? This is just south of the 32-16 junction. It's a real small parcel of land. Just north of the Effingham Equity.
And what are the intentions to turn this into?
He approached me to correct an issue that was already there. So he had been successfully running a seed business out of that. And he approached me and said, this is not zoned properly and I would like to fix it. So really this is to correct it, but it needs to be zoned for general business.
There used to be a house there years ago, burned down on Easter, and that's been a seed business ever since.
Any other questions for Mr. McKee?
The zoning board approved it unanimously. There was no one there to protest against it, so pretty cut and dry.
Okay. I see no other questions or discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 8 passes. On item 9, discussion and vote to approve the preliminary plat for Lithium Estates pending approval by the zoning board of appeals. Motion on this one, please. Mr. Ross, second. Mr. Morse. Scott.
Okay, so the zoning board of appeals received the preliminary plat application from Barb and David Galvin for their Lithia Springs Estate subdivision, which I sent all of you copies of their application and all the information that they provided, their attorney John Barger provided during the zoning board of appeals meeting. So they are looking to establish this subdivision there. It was unanimously approved on the grounds, mostly because they provided a stormwater management plan like the previous plan commission had asked them to do, as well as they also provided a good septic plan.
So Doug Uphoff made the motion to approve it based on those findings, and so it passed the zoning board of appeals. The preliminary plat now goes to the county board for approval, and then afterwards, next month, you'll have a final approval for the final plat. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, and I know John's here, so yes.
This has been going on a long time.
Very long time.
Are the neighbors all in favor of this? Because that's part of the litigation.
I don't know.
They didn't show up at the zoning board or anything like that?
No, the zoning board of appeals meeting is a meeting that basically they get all the facts about the proposed subdivision. There's no requirement to notify the neighbors. This is just a fact finding, like, is what they're presenting good enough that we're going to approve it or even bring it forward to the full council. So that's the purpose of the zoning board of appeals. Now, what the county board wants to do with that is up to them.
Is there any litigation going on with this still?
I believe that Judge, what was his name? Jarman required Dave and Barbara Galvin to submit this plat. By judgment.
Yeah, they were required to develop it.
And to answer your question, the plat that is being presented is actually prepared at the direction of the attorney for Mr. Pearl and the Goodings.
I mean, I don't have anything in any of this, but I've been on this board long enough to know that there's been a lot of problems with this issue.
We're trying to bring it to an end.
Again, if you vote to approve or deny tonight, well, if you vote to approve, that's not the final step. The final step is the final plat application. So you can approve it tonight with the subject of, we want to see this happen or this happen, but that information is sent you for you to go over and decide if it's good enough for the county to have.
So let me make sure I understand, because the agenda item says, pending approval by zoning.
We put that in there because at the time that I gave it to Jessica, we hadn't had a meeting yet. Okay. So it has been unanimously approved by the zoning board of appeals.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my understanding, as I've been here a while with Teresa, not as long as her, but this has been ongoing. I know there has been litigation, and the judgment that I'm aware of was that one of the parties was to submit this plat, that they did, and then the zoning board was to approve or deny it, and then bring it to us. We are appointing the zoning board members. They're reviewing this. This is a court order. I say we vote yes on this and get this thing to an end.
So it's just south of...
Hold on. Right, this is the board side of things, please. So, any other questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're just approving or denying the plat?
The preliminary plat.
Preliminary plat.
And then there will be a final vote for the plat, the final plat next month. I'm not sure why, probably for this very reason, so if you go before the board twice, you have to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But there is a requirement in our zoning ordinance for preliminary plat approval and then a final plat approval.
And then on that final plat approval, are other adjacent properties notified in this litigation? I just want to understand.
So not in our zoning ordinance, nor in the state statute does it require notification of those individuals, but I would imagine that the county board would want to notify those individuals.
And we would have opportunity to do that even though we
Yeah,
didn't
if you approved it tonight, you could deny it at the final plat approval if you wanted to, but again, you're going to have that meeting, and you can have those individuals contact them and have them be here. But
So just to make sure I understand, we're essentially a smaller step in the process, but then we'll eventually circle back here again for final, is that correct?
Yes, I'm kind of in the same boat. This is my first subdivision as far as I did the planning commission in 23, over the same matter, and it only got to the planning commission, and they denied it. So this is as far as I've ever gotten with the subdivision. But yes, there's a preliminary plat approval, and then you can approve it on conditions of notifying the neighbors or conditions of whatever. You can approve it tonight, and there will be a final approval at your next scheduled meeting.
Part of the reason we're doing.
Sir, you don't want to, you haven't been recognized. And this is a board discussion.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Rose.
Thank you. So part of this problem has been the two parties that are, as Ms. Bay mentioned, having a legal battle. The county has been brought in because things keep coming to the county, and the county rejects them, and then the county board gets sued. My understanding, the county's involved in this lawsuit to some extent, and the obligation from Judge Jarman was bring a plat, approve the plat, move forward.
I believe the judgment was for them to file the plat application. I don't know. I don't think the judge has the right to require us to pass it.
Right.
Yeah.
If we fail to do that, for whatever reason, then we're going to wind up in the same situation that we're in, which is continually kicking the can down the road. These folks are intent on building this subdivision. They've been fought for decades to not. I mean, they're not here, no one's here opposing it. No, I mean, obviously, the zoning board approved it. I think it's our obligation to approve it.
And it's preliminary, right?
And
We still have one more, so if there's additional action to be taken or further discussion, we will hear from that again. Okay.
So anybody that has any concerns, now is the time to start acting, because there is a plat that you can object to. If we don't pass this plat, then there's nothing for anybody to object to.
Yes.
I just want to clarify, where is the location of this?
So Robin Hood Woods campground
Okay.
is to the south. So there's two houses there south of Robin Hood Woods, and it's
Like-
around those houses.
Okay, and there's an area there that just got trees and whatnot in it, right? It'd be west, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It's southwest, yeah.
Okay, so they already have the campground, that area, so that's that area just south.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
correct me if I'm wrong, the last time the plat got turned down, it was because it didn't specify drainage issues, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's, what was the rectification on the drainage? Where's the runoff gonna go now? Is it going straight to Route 16 to that ditch?
Yes, but Milano and Brunlow, their engineer there, signed an affidavit saying that it was up to par, and the fact that they even provided a stormwater management plan to make sure that the runoff would make it to that ditch is why the zoning board approved it.
All right, any other questions, discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. All right, so for those of you that are holding an agenda out there, and you picked it up, it's missing an item. The one that was published downstairs, which the sheriff was nice enough to bring to us, the one that was published online is the correct one. So there is one additional item on here versus the one that's sitting out there. And so I think the sheriff would have to verify we actually have the right one in front of us. So there is another item, which is item 15, which is discussion and vote to approve the contract with the FOP for 12/1/2024 to November 30th of 2027. Have a motion on this item, Mr. Pritchard, and a second. Ms. Bain, I am going to make a motion for amendment for this, with the amendment being the period of it would be 9/1 of 2024 versus 12/1. Second on that. And then Mr. Yandis, any discussion on the amendment?
Is that just going back to the original?
It is. It's a clerical error on my part, that it's a typo on my part, that it was, instead of, the contract that I have, the contract here, it is for September 1st of 2024, so it's just a clerical error on my end. So, any other discussion on the amendment to change the date? I see none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, back to the original item. Any discussion or questions regarding the FOP contract?
I'm just curious, as far as the deputies' pay, how, is it comparable to other counties around us?
So, first, let me thank Ms. Matlock, even though she's not here, for her help in this negotiation. We started in, I don't know, second week of January, we're done. So, I think we got through it pretty quickly. As far as the pay and bringing pay up to being comparable, the answer to that is pretty close. I think, Sheriff, would you agree with that?
Yeah, they did not bring us any comparables, but knowing what's in the area, yes.
So one component that factored into this was the premium pay had been stopped and then reinstated, and in doing so, there was an MOU signed. The MOU made the premium pay permanent. So that became baseline for negotiations at that point. And so then when you go through the contract and you look at the percentage of increase, part of the negotiation discussion was, there was already a pretty solid increase from 2022 on to that. So that's where we were able to lay at the 2% pay raise for 25, 3% 26, and 3% 27. So that's how we got to those numbers.
We just, we train our deputies, we want to keep them.
Yes. And so the premium pay ended up being so. Any other discussion or questions on this item?
I just had one
Oh,
quick
sorry.
question. You're fine. Can someone briefly run through how overtime pay works? Because I was trying to read through it, and is it after a 40-hour week, or is it after? Because the deputies are 12-hour shifts, correct?
It's on the pay period.
Okay.
So
So is it
There are
anything
typical
after a
pay
12-hour
periods.
day, or anything after a 36-hour week?
Well, it would be overtime on a day if it's over their regularly scheduled shift. And then their regularly scheduled shifts end up being 84 hours in a 2-week period, which that would be 4 hours of overtime.
Okay. All right, so if something happens and say they work 14 hours, that day they get, it's not an accumulation of their whole work week, it's of that
It'd be 2 hours
day.
of overtime on that day.
Okay, that's fine, I just wasn't sure how that worked.
And I will say, so I know that everybody received the red line version. And that was intentional, because I wanted to make sure everybody saw the additions and the changes. So the omissions as well as the adjustments that were in there. So I know it was a very busy document, but there is a clean copy here as well. Anybody's welcome to come see it, but a lot of work went into reducing redundant language, confusing language, things that just didn't necessarily completely make sense. Some of the stuff when we read it out loud, if nobody can answer what it was we were reading, we found a way to make it work. And so this is 10 pages shorter than what you have in your hands. And so a lot of work went into making sure it was reduced, simplified, and streamlined. So I appreciate the work that went into that. Not only from State's Attorney and Ms. Matlock, but also the Sheriff and the FOP, and the folks that were there to represent. It was for a first experience for me, it was a good experience, and I was glad they were able to get to a pretty quick solution on this. So, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would ask your permission to have 3 people weigh in on this. The issue is holiday pay. I do not want to hash over what is in the holiday pay. I just want answers from 3 people. You, the sheriff, and the clerk. You being the chairman, the sheriff being the head of the department, and the clerk being the head of the payroll. Is everybody in agreement with this holiday pay so we can stop future grievances on deputies' holiday pay?
So I'll start, and then you stop me if I'm either out of school, have bad memory, or I'm just simply wrong. But that was one of the areas that was tidied up and cleaned up to simplify language and make it more clear on what that looked like. And that also carries over into how their record keeping takes place. So they will still record that separately on their tracking sheets. However, when submitted for payroll purposes, the comp time, overtime, payroll time, it's all just going to be lumped in for one purpose. But they will track it separately. So, did I get it close?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
And the clerk, maybe, not demeaning anybody, we've had how many grievances filed over this? I just want to make sure that all the parties are in agreement and.
Yeah, I think that we're all there, and
Okay.
the attempt was to not only simplify it for their record-keeping purposes, but then also from a payroll standpoint, and that way there's no question on exactly what this looks like, and Ms. Wade in the Sheriff's Department has actually created a new tracking sheet that, I'm glad she understands it, for sure.
It's very confusing.
But it is, it's much more robust, but then when you shrink it down, it is much more streamlined. So for their internal purposes, it's very robust, so they can account for everything. But when it comes to providing that to the clerk's office, it'll just be very simplified and uniform. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
it's about as simple as I can probably put that. Any other questions or discussion on this? No? This is roll call vote. Or is this just simple?
I don't think you would have, because when they get paid and stuff, and that's when you're gonna
Yeah, if we've ever said we do one of these in my time here, so I was wondering.
you can do whatever you want.
Let's just do it, and then,
Okay.
yeah, say we didn't do it, right? All right, no other discussion, questions? All right, roll call vote, please.
Bang?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Edwards?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Mayhaw?
Yes.
Miller? Mitchell?
Yes.
Morse? Pritchard?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Wofford?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Yanis?
Yes.
Motion passes with 14 ayes, 1 voting present.
Great, and thank you again. And again, I know that this is, I appreciate the patience and the work from the sheriff and everybody there as well to get this. I mean, it's obviously long overdue with the backdating something in September, but, I appreciate the work to get this thing and taking care of it as quickly as you did. So, all right. Now we'll move on to committee reports. Yes, sir?
The airport, we met Monday night, all 6 doors, new doors are in and functional. They came in, they knocked stuff out in like a week, once the doors arrived. So it looks very nice. It is a great improvement to those hangars. And like I mentioned earlier, the other doors were completely falling apart, and so they're very pleased with the turnout of those.
Any other committee reports? Yes, ma'am?
Finance.
Yes.
We had a discussion of the committee on utility bills that are submitted every month for us to approve, and they're held until we approve them to be paid. And in having this discussion, the finance committee has unanimously decided that utility bills for the county should be paid when they're received. But we still want to see the bills when we see everybody's bills, to look at them and stuff, but we don't want them being held and then having a late charge put on anything. So the utility bills will go ahead and be paid, but we will still review them when we look at the other bills that we pay.
Fair enough. Anything else for committee reports? No? All right. On item 17, which is chairman appointments, seek a motion for the appointment of Nathan P. Elliott to the Mowequa Fire Protection District trustee to fill the term of Robert Hemmer, due to expire in May of 2027. Motion by Mr. Brown, second. Ms. Miller, any discussion? None? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. On to 18, chairman updates and correspondence. I don't think we have anything to read this month, do we? Sweet. All right, moving on to item 19, any old business? Yes, sir.
Got word that the clock works have been made and they'll be shipped and should be here next week.
Good deal. And then you have a timeline on the
No,
installation?
I don't know what they're, when it'll finally get up.
All right, well, I had a few people ask, especially Mr. Bowden, he wants to know if he's gonna hear the audible tick on the 15th of here. So, I'll be happy to let him know that that's coming soon, so thank you for the work on that. Any other old business, yes, sir?
Yes, you and I spoke about this a couple of times, and I would like it to be a part of official record. We spoke on this in regards to the FOP. When this board alleviated several grievances with the Sheriff's Department through the most recent MOU, that ended any desire for the county, the FOP, or anybody to go after either party over any underpayment or overpayment that may or may not have occurred in the forensic audit that happened many years ago. That when we approved that MOU and the grievances were squashed, that settled that. Is that correct assessment?
I'll look back to you if you don't want to speak on this now, and we can have further discussion later. This was discussed in the early part of our negotiations, and in my recollection, there's nothing there.
Correct, at least, but they can only speak from the union.
That's right.
There could be individual employees that could, but we've had no notification of any of that.
And there was nothing expressed, and then going into this, with this contract, we have a clean slate. So grievances are settled.
There are no outstanding grievances with the FOP. I had a private conversation with the sheriff, and he expressed essentially the same thing that I said. I've still had communications over it that there's fear, and I'm trying to put those to rest, that we are moving forward, not backwards. That was then, we're I hate to use the word fixing, but we're adjusting the payroll policy and everything related to payroll, and we're not rearward looking, we're forward looking, and that is all resolved. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Certainly lessons learned from the past, but yes,
Sure.
forward looking. Any other old business? All right, we'll move on to approval of the claims. I have a motion to pay the bills, Mr. Ross, and a second, Ms. Boehm. Anything to add to pay the bills? Okay.
Not that I can remember.
No amendments? Sweet. All right, any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Morse? Yes.
Pritchard,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Wofford,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Yanis.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. On to 21, public body comment. Yes, sir.
I read through quite a bit of the last two audits we had, and toward some of the final pages, it explained we don't have a financial statement. According to 50 ILCS 305, the treasurer has required to give us a financial statement twice a year. Both audits said I don't know the exact words, but we didn't have anyone capable of making a financial statement. So when the audit's approved, will we also get a financial statement?
Maybe you're talking about fiscal year 22 or 23. Which audit are you talking about?
Either one.
I don't know, but I can make an inquiry for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can add that to my list to ask about. That it? Okay.
I have a public body comment.
Sure.
I mean, it's changed to the board, but anyway, so when we were at the finance committee meeting the other night, I asked at that time, since we review the department bills, there are two departments that I know of, and there may be more. The sheriff's department and the health department, whose bills are not reviewed by this board, this seated board. And I talked to Brian and I talked to Steve at the health department, and Brian was under the understanding that once his budget is approved, it's his, he pays his bills out of that budget, which I fully agree with and understand. But years ago when I first started on the board, Gary Patterson mentioned that the sheriff, I think, had his own committee. Am I right, Brian?
It was still public.
It was Public Safety Committee? Okay. That provided oversight to the sheriff's department to review their bills. So as of right now, sheriff's bills are being paid, or the sheriff department, not you personally, the sheriff's department's bills are being paid, and no one knows what's being paid. No one on this board knows what's being paid. And this is not a mistrust issue, as I don't know if you got that email, but it's not anything like that. It's just we are stewards of tax dollars, and we have to provide oversight to where those dollars are going. And it's not that no one is being compliant in it. It's just, I think it kind of fell to the wayside of those bills being reviewed. And I just feel like personally it's my opinion, and I would ask that maybe the legislative committee look into this and decide how are we providing oversight for the money that's being spent out of the sheriff's department. And then when I talked to Steve at the health department, he said the bills are reviewed by the head of the health department, the chairman of the health department board. That's an appointed position. It's not an elected position. And if everybody's okay with that, that's fine as collectively as a group. Personally, I just feel like one of our main responsibilities is oversight. And I just, right now we have great people in all those positions, but we need to establish something moving forward to ensure that we are, that we're reviewing things. I feel like. I'm just asking that the legislative committee, maybe, would that be the right committee to look at it?
Well, I will speak specifically to the sheriff's department.
Okay.
This was decided several months ago in finance.
Okay.
Via statute that we don't have that requirement.
I
And
understand.
so everybody has the ability to go inspect his bills. But
Okay, that's what I'm, okay.
that's never not the issue.
They're all public record.
Okay,
Yes.
and that's what I asked in the meeting, like, where do we see those bills?
And I was sending, all of the sheriff's bills were going to finance. And then it was just, it stated in our order of business, as well, it was referenced, the statute was referenced by a former board member, that the sheriff, when his bills were submitted, they're to be paid. But
Right.
all AP is public record. Anybody can contact the office at any time, and, yeah, so.
The statute's
Okay.
pretty clear on his.
100%, I understand the statute. I'm not saying that, my concern is just, he is the manager, or the sheriff is the manager of the sheriff's department's budget, 100%. But, we don't have to provide oversight as to what is being spent.
No.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No, and that's per statute, per a previous board member.
Yeah,
And
Brian
voted
told me
on.
that in the
Yep.
email.
And it was
I
voted
just
on,
wanted
so-
to make sure that we're,
Yeah, we could probably even dig up those minutes and the references for you and get them to you, so, but, yeah, it was decided that that's, and it was similar, especially for their situation, is it not only a streamlined process, but it also kept late fees from taking place on things that they were receiving, so, it avoided a lot of late fees.
and that's perfectly fine, like Jessica said. If it's public record and people can, then, they can look at them and fine. I just was thinking more proactive than reactive if in the event something did happen where something was questionable, whatever. But okay, that's fine.
You've had your time, so. Body comment?
I just want to apologize. I had a panic attack when he mentioned Lithia Springs, and I've had a lot of problems with that zoning department for like 6 years. I had some issues, so I was like, oh my God. I just feel, okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know where it was.
So it's like, thank you for that. Public body comment? Public body comment? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Oh, I just wanted to bring up so everybody would have it, be able to think about it. I had the unfortunate opportunity to ride in an ambulance and overheard that they were having problems having enough to be able to do transfers. And in the past, I know they've been forced to use the helicopter to do a transfer. And if that happens, then $70,000, $4,500, even if you have Medicare. So a person on a fixed income cannot do that. So we need to think about how we can either subsidize or put something in place to where we can, help our citizens be able to, transfer to another hospital if they need.
Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this, and I know I've talked to a couple of others, share that, is I had a meeting with the mayor and the hospital CEO here not long ago, and this was one of the topics that I brought up to both of them to get a better understanding of where we stood. He's aware of the issue and the challenges. In fact, he was going to be meeting shortly thereafter with the CEO of Abbott to have a discussion about what they could do, what could be done to help them. And so a couple things that were brought up was potential class sizes, training of paramedics, in addition to possibly just desired compensation of the positions. And so they are working on discussions to figure out what would help them to be able to help us better. So the conversations are happening. The hospital is doing what they can when they can, so much so that when they have trying to keep 2 units available at all times versus just a basic life support unit. They do provide a nurse periodically to go so they can actually have a paradigm qualified unit. So they're making an effort where they can to fill shortfalls in the interim until we can find solutions. So there are people looking into it. And so I don't know how quickly we get to a solution, but if it involves class capacity, then we want to look to see where we can help that as well. So, but there are conversations, and thank you for bringing that up. Thanks. Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. All right, the motion to adjourn. Mr. Ross, and second by Ms. Wood. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we are adjourned at